Chapter 54-34. The four extreme weapons collided once again, causing a shocking destruction. But fortunately they flew directly into the outer space. It caused the outer space to shatter continuously. The people on the Nether Sky continent heaved a sigh of relief. If they were to attack their land, it would probably cease to exist. Damn it, they were stopped. The dark red divine dragon gritted his teeth. Murong Qingqing said, "Restrain them." Now that Lin Shen was trapped, he should be able to fight. But if the Thousand Dragon Court and Zifu joined in, it would be really dangerous. So no matter what, they had to restrain these two forces. At the same time, they were also looking forward to such a battle. It should alarm the Extreme Tao world. If the three street weapons of the Extreme Tao world wanted to help, that would be great. The people of the Thousand Dragon Court were also worried. If the three street weapons flew out to help Lin Shen, they would have no advantage. Yao Guang frowned. She had to think of a way to end this quickly. Nine Firmament Quasi-Emperor said, "Don't worry, those three fellows won't come." "How can you be so sure?" Yao Guang frowned. Nine Firmament said, "Of course I'm sure, because you have to do something next. As long as this matter is successful, those three extreme weapons won't be in the mood to care about things here. There is an extremely unusual place in the Nether Sky continent. There is something buried there. If you tear a corner of the seal there, the three extreme grade weapons will panic. They will definitely suppress that thing with all their strength, so they won't come out." "What is it?" Yao Guang asked. Nine Firmament Quasi-Emperor smiled. "Do as I say." Next he began to release the news bit by bit to Yao Guang. Yao Guang soared into the sky and flew in a direction of the Nether Sky continent. Nine Firmament Quasi-Emperor didn't tell Yao Guang everything because he had to keep some things to guard against the other party. During this period of time, he realized that Yao Guang's ambition was really too big, and this person was extremely sinister. Last time he even wanted to devour his soul. Although it was only a part, it was enough to make Nine Firmament Quasi-Emperor terrified. Although he was an expert from tens of thousands of years ago, he couldn't underestimate this young junior. If the other party had the chance, he would probably kill him. So, he had to maintain some mystery and unfathomable to intimidate the other party. On the other side, Yao Guang was expressionless, but he harumphed coldly in his heart. "Old bastard, you are actually hiding something from me? Sooner or later, I will devour you." To obtain the true power of a quasi-emperor, the light-shaking realm cultivator did indeed want to devour the other party. After all, even though he was cooperating with the other party, there was still an old monster in his mind that was a threat. If he could devour the other party, the threat would be gone and he could even grow stronger. Could be said that he was killing two birds with one stone. However, he knew that now was not the time to make a move. He would only make his move when he was at least 70% confident. Right now he only had a 30% chance of success, which was too little. The Nether Sky continent was extremely vast. The Astral Light Society used the Gu clan's theurgy art, and when they used Void theurgy art, they appeared and disappeared unpredictably. He could travel any further with Void banishment and space folding. Finally he arrived at a mountain range. It was very peaceful here. It was terrifyingly quiet. Yao Guang frowned. That's not right. There wasn't even a single demonic beast. What was going on? The situation didn't seem right. Quasi-Emperor Jiao Shao said with a smile. "Have you noticed? Do you see a valley in this mountain range? There is no movement there. Don't go to that valley. Just break one of its formations near the valley." "What is this place? What kind of valley is this? Why is it so strange?" Yao Guang asked with a frown. Quasi-Emperor Jiao Shao smiled mysteriously. "You go first." Yao Guang snorted coldly, feeling unhappy. However, in order to deal with Lin Wudi, she didn't care anymore. He landed outside the valley and attacked the ground. He tore the ground apart. There was actually a stone tablet under the ground. A stone turtle was holding a stone tablet. It was very ancient. It was unknown when it was buried here. "What should I do next?" Yao Guang asked. Quasi-Emperor Jiao Shao smiled mysteriously. Her soul flew out. He didn't tell Yao Guang the method but did it himself. After using his soul to investigate, the corners of his mouth curled up into a smile. "It seems that my guess is similar. This stone tablet is about to shatter. Even if we don't make a move, it will definitely shatter in 100 years. Now, I want to bring it forward 100 years. At this point, he waved his hand and 5 mysterious runes appeared on the palm of his soul. This was also a kind of formation. Using a formation to break a formation, it was unfathomable. Yao Guang's pupils constricted. It had devoured countless experts, and among them were formation masters. His attainments in formations were also very strong. But now he couldn't understand it. Damn it, this was the difference between him and a quasi-emperor. In the next moment, there was a rumbling sound on the stone tablet and cracks appeared. Then it broke in half from the middle. Great. Quasi-Emperor Jiao smiled. 100 years had been brought forward. This time there would be a show to watch. After saying that, he quickly returned to Yao Guang's body. He used the void ability to transport the broken half of the stone tablet into the universe. As far as possible, don't let anyone find it. At the same time, run quickly. Yao Guang frowned. He still had a lot of questions that he wanted to ask. But in the next moment he turned and ran. With a wave of his hand, the power of space wrapped around the broken stone tablet and disappeared with it. In the next moment, in the uninhabited valley ahead, there was a shrill scream. Then the surrounding 9 heavens and 10 earths all shattered. Yao Guang used her space ability to the extreme, but he was injured. Damn it. A voice injured him. If he hadn't become a new chaos physique and ran quickly, he would probably have died there. Damn old thing, you didn't tell me that it was so dangerous. Yao Guang was angry. A valley that looked a little strange but he didn't care about it was actually so terrifying. What kind of power was that? One had to know that he was very close to the Triple Crown. But when he heard the remaining power of the voice, he was almost scared to death. This was a forbidden land for life. Quasi-Emperor Jiao smiled. At this moment they had already arrived in the outer universe. He said, "You guessed right, it's a forbidden land for life. It's the same as Mount Eternal, a forbidden land for death. That valley is called the Valley of No Return. There is also an incredible existence inside." When this thing appeared, the 3 extreme weapons of the extreme Dao world panicked. They will definitely come to suppress it. So, you have to do 2 things now. Quickly transport the broken stone tablet to a place. Don't think about destroying it. You can't destroy it. Only the power of time can destroy it. You just have to make it so that others can't find it. Then take this opportunity to go back and kill Lin Wudi. Chapter 54-35. 10,000 Dragon Court, Zifu, Murong Qingqing, and Yan Ryu's battle was getting more and more terrifying. Extreme Dao power erupted and swept across the land. The Nether Sky continent started to shake violently. Finally, the extreme Dao world was alerted. Destructive Spear and the others' eyes lit up. What was going on? They all charged out. To be honest, the extreme Dao world wouldn't care about the battle outside. They had their own mission, but the battle of 4 extreme weapons was too terrifying. Since the extreme weapons were fighting on the Nether Sky continent, they had to head over. Could it be that they were targeting Lin Xian at this time? The life treasure was worried. Black Tortoise also said, "Let's go and take a look." The 3 extreme weapons charged out. The moment they appeared, their extreme aura also erupted and swept across the 9 heavens. When the people from the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty in Purple Palace sensed this, their expressions changed. Not good. If the 3 extreme weapons interfered, then they had no chance of winning at all. They all wanted to escape. However, when the 3 apex weapons rushed out, they were stunned halfway through their journey. Because they felt an even more terrifying aura erupt and sweep across the 9 heavens. At that moment, Yan Ryu, Murong Qingqing, and the others all stopped. They looked into the distance in horror. What was happening there? The people from Zifu and 10,000 Dragon Court felt their scalps go numb. They felt a shocking power. Was there something terrifying in the Nether Sky continent? They couldn't believe it. Destructive Spear roared. Damn it, it's the Valley of No Return. Who opened the seal? No, they had to suppress it. The 8 trigrams was also anxious. The Aquarius of Life sighed and glanced off into the distance. He shot out a streak of life energy. Then he went to suppress the seal of the Valley of No Return. Logically speaking, it should only open 100 years later. Now that it suddenly appeared, they were all shocked. They definitely couldn't allow the Valley of No Return to come out now. The 3 extreme weapons charged towards the Valley of No Return. They wanted to suppress and repair the formation. Let's go. When the people from the 10,000 Dragon Court in Zifu sensed this, they laughed out loud. Ah, that's great. Let's see who can save Lin Xian this time. However, this was the time of his death. Murong Qingqing and the others had cold expressions. In the outer realm, Yao Guang used his spatial ability to teleport the broken stone tablet away. No one would be able to find it in a short period of time. Then he turned and teleported back to the Nether Sky continent. He was ready to attack. Let's go kill Lin Xian. The people from the 10,000 Dragons Court and the Purple Mansion also attacked. Murong Qingqing, Yan Ryu, and the others from the Divine Union intercepted him. They fought as they flew. Gradually they approached Lin Xian. Lin Xian, Thousand Death Great Killing Array Dragon Great Death Array. Li Xiongxian was Xian thousand dragon thousand thousand heavens. Lin Xian was resisting with terrifying power, but that power was getting weaker and weaker. Lin Wang. Gotti. That brat was not dead yet. After the people of the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty arrived, they roared at the sky. However, they didn't act blindly without thinking. That was because they realized that the formation before them was extremely terrifying. Older brother Xian, Murong Qingqing and the others also came. When they saw Lin Xian they immediately became nervous. That hateful Mount Eternal. Murong Qingqing shouted and immediately activated the ancient desolate tower to attack. The ancient desolate pagoda smashed forward and the 8 gates absolute kill array shook violently. Inside the supreme pagoda, the first emissary opened his eyes. His face was extremely pale. Damn it. Extreme weapon. He spat out a mouthful of blood. He didn't expect that someone would come to save Lin Xian. Was he going to fail at the last hurdle? However, when he saw the scene he sneered. This was because he realized that other than people coming to save Lin Xian, there were also people who wanted to kill Lin Xian. What to do? Long Wu of the 10,000 Dragons Court asked. A 10,000 Dragon Dynasty divine ancestor gritted his teeth and said, "It was okay, both sides had extreme weapons and they could fight against each other. The other side also couldn't use extreme weapons to save Lin Xian. Next we will fight with numbers. We have more people than them. Enter the array and kill Lin Xian." The 4 extreme weapons were in a deadlock in the sky. No one could do anything to the other. Up until now they hadn't fully recovered. It was probably a matter of resources. However, the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty started to move. 9 dragons rushed forward. They said, "Mount Eternal, please allow us to enter. We want to kill Lin Wudi." Xiao Ying and the others from the Purple Mansion sect also walked in and said coldly, "Your strength isn't enough to kill Lin Wudi. With our strength you can definitely do it. That's right, kill him." The light-shaking realm also appeared. When they saw this, the Divine Union's people's faces turned ugly. The light-shaking realm was too terrifying. Very few people were a match for them. Murong Qingqing and Yen Ryu also had cold expressions. The 2 of them weren't a match for the other side. However, if the 2 of them worked together they could fight against the light-shaking realm. However, could the Divine Union's people deal with the other people? Fight. Bai Susu and the others gritted their teeth. The dark red divine dragon also roared. Kill. A great battle broke out in an instant. Not only were there extreme weapons confronting each other, but these powerhouses were also killing each other. It was very terrifying. On the other side, the first emissary's face was cold. He really couldn't kill Lin Xian in an instant. Moreover, the people around him were so terrifying. They even had extreme weapons. There was more than one of them. After thinking about it, he also felt that a long delay might lead to trouble. Thus, he was prepared to end the battle quickly. He said, "Okay, I'll let you in." The 9 dragons experts walked in. On the other side, the Purple Mansion sect's experts also entered. Murong Qingqing and Yen Ryu worked together to stop the light-shaking realm. They definitely wouldn't allow the light-shaking realm to hurt Lin Xian. As for the others, the Divine Union's people stopped them. However, people like Xiao Ying and the others were very terrifying. No one could match them. He quickly charged towards Lin Xian. "Lin Wudi die." Xiao Ying sneered. He was very fast. In an instant he arrived in front of Lin Xian and slapped out. The terrifying palm swept through the 9 heavens. Nothing could stop it. His strength had become even stronger than before. Lin Xian was surrounded by 8 palms. The black undying hand seemed to want to seal him. Feeling the danger, he opened his eyes. In his right eye, there was a trace of extremely terrifying samsara light. Xiao Ying was stunned when he felt this eye. However, he quickly gritted his teeth. "Lin Wudi, it's useless. I admit that you're stronger than me and won the championship. But now, what about you? You've already been suppressed, sealed, and heavily injured. It's easy for me to kill you." After saying that, Xiao Ying slapped out again. Lin Xian didn't say anything. His Rinnegan eye spun rapidly and turned into a ball of samsara flame that flew out. Boom. This ball of flame was extremely terrifying. The moment it appeared, the sky and earth shook. Apart from the undying hand, the others felt their scalps go numb. Chapter 54-36. Xiao Ying was also startled. This flame really exceeded his expectations. In his opinion, Lin Xian was pale and sealed by the 8 palms, so he didn't have much strength left. That was why he was the first to rush over. Lin Xian was the champion of the dragon transformation battle. If he killed him personally, there would definitely be many benefits. However, he didn't expect the other party to be so terrifying. There was a deafening sound as his palms were enveloped in flames. In the next moment he screamed as he retreated. He was severely injured. He gritted his teeth. Let's do it. The 9 powerhouses of the dragon stepped forward, emitting a terrifying killing intent. Kill. By Susu, the toad, and the dark red dragon blocked 3 of them. The remaining 6 rushed out. The 6 of them working together was still very terrifying. Their power completely surpassed Xiao Ying's. At this moment the people around them were worried for Lin Xian. The people of the 10,000 Dragons dynasty were looking forward to it. This time they should be able to kill Lin Wudi. Kill him and avenge the Dragon Prince. Lin Wudi, go to hell. An old man of the dragons shouted coldly. He punched out as if a huge dragon was sweeping through heaven and earth. Stupid thing, you offended Mount Eternal and were suppressed. Today is the day you die. Another powerhouse of the dragons shouted angrily as thunder filled the sky. It turned into a lightning dragon bearing its fangs and brandishing its claws. Then, the terrifying wind dragon, the terrifying sea dragon, and the divine ancestors of the 6 dragons attacked one after another. They enveloped heaven and earth. This was the power of a fatal blow. Xiao Ying and the others were terrified. The people of the divine union despaired. Oh, boss. Damn it. They roared crazily. Lin Xian could have dodged if he was at his peak. However, he had been sealed by the people of Mount Eternal. How could he dodge? Even a divine body wouldn't be able to withstand it if he were to take it head-on. In the face of such a terrifying attack, the number 1 emissary in the sky sneered. It was over. However, Lin Xian's expression was incomparably cold. Although he was enveloped by the undying hand, it did not mean that anyone could attack him. His current strength had undergone an earth-shattering change. Therefore he will make these dragons regret. The Rinnegan in his right eye suddenly burst out with an extremely terrifying brilliance. Those reincarnation runes kept interweaving, and terrifying reincarnation power rushed out. It exploded between heaven and earth. At that moment, everyone was terrified. Their scalps went numb and Lin Xian spat out a mouthful of blood. He used a power that surpassed everything and summoned the phantom of the Samsara sword. Between heaven and earth, the 6 paths of reincarnation turned into a sword of reincarnation. Although it was just an illusion, it was incomparably terrifying, becoming the most resplendent light in the world. His appearance made everyone's scalp go numb. The pupils of the 6 dragons' sacred ancestors constricted. Damn it, this is impossible. How could he still have such power? They roared crazily and even wanted to escape. However, the phantom of the Samsara sword slashed down and enveloped them. 6 paths of reincarnation. These dragons' sacred ancestors let out miserable cries as their bodies were torn apart in an instant. Then a rain of blood fell from the sky. Boom. The 8 gates heaven lock array also began to shake violently. 2 of the pitch-black doors that had been struck began to crack. There was no helping it. The Samsara sword was too terrifying. Although it was just an illusion, its power was unparalleled. Lin Xian sighed. His right eye slowly closed and a line of blood dripped down from it. The surrounding people were dumbfounded. The first emissary spat out a mouthful of blood. The array was damaged and he also suffered a backlash. The dragon's sacred ancestors all went crazy. 1,000 dragons Chow roared crazily. No. Under this sword, the 6 dragons' sacred ancestors had disappeared. Had their souls been reincarnated? Damn it, this is impossible. They roared crazily. How could Lin Wudi be so powerful? This was completely beyond their understanding. 5 years ago, Lin Wudi definitely hadn't been so terrifying. The people from the Purple Mansion also frowned. Damn it, the situation had exceeded their expectations. Xiao Ying was completely scared out of his wits. The people from the Divine Union heaved a sigh of relief. This was great. Boss Lin had become even stronger than before. Murong Qingqing and the others' nervousness also eased a bit. Lin Xian sighed and stood up. The 8 gates heaven lock array had almost sealed him, but now the people from the Divine Union had come and started attacking the array. Furthermore, there were extreme weapons in the sky. Although they weren't attacking the array, the aura they emitted made the array shake violently. The array had already been unable to hold on, but Lin Xian's summons and the Samsara sword had shattered the array. A few cracks appeared on the indestructible hand, and Lin Xian finally walked out of the seal. His expression was extremely cold. The 10,000 Dragon Court, the Purple Mansion, and the families and sects that dared to kill him were all dead. Lin Xian's murderous intent continued to surface. He was truly enraged. He took the initiative to look at Xiao Ying. You dare be the first to come and kill me? You deserve to die. He walked over step by step. His speed wasn't fast and his body was even swaying a little. After all, he had been sealed for too long. However, Xiao Ying's scalp went numb. He had been frightened by Lin Wudi's aura. After all, that sword had been too terrifying. The Purple Mansion Master roared crazily. There was no need to be afraid of him. He could only use the Samsara sword once. His Rinnegan could no longer be used and he didn't have much strength left. He was already an arrow at the end of its flight. Xiao Ying, kill him. Yes, that's right. Xiao Ying's eyes flashed malevolently. He could see that Lin Xian's right eye was bleeding and injured. It was completely closed. There wasn't much strength left in his body either. Lin Wudi, who did you think you were? Did you really think that you were at your peak? If you were at your peak, I would turn around and run. But your injuries are too heavy. Do you know how much my strength has increased in the past 5 years? You're not my opponent at all. Xiao Ying roared crazily and then he attacked. Xiao's blade. Shadow's sword. A long blade appeared in his left hand, and a demonic sword appeared in his right. The blade and sword attacked together. The great Tao above kept erupting. This was an extremely terrifying attack. Even the other Double Crown champions wouldn't be able to block such an attack. How could the weak Lin Wudi resist? Ah, die for me. Great. The Purple Mansion Master laughed. Even the light-shaking realm was ready to attack. The 9 Firmament Quasi-Emperor in his mind was ready to rush out at any time. Not good. Brother Xian, Murong Qingqing and the others were worried again. Without the Rinnegan, could Lin Xian still resist? Quickly retreat. The dark red dragon also roared. Quickly escape from here. We'll take revenge later. Leave. Lin Xian slightly shook his head. Why leave? Chapter 5437. What did you say? Are you calling me an ant? How dare you look down on me? Xiao Ying roared crazily as the sword in his hand became even more terrifying. Go to hell. Lin Wudi. Lin Xian stretched out a finger and a terrifying sword chi appeared on his fingertip. He then pointed it forward. This sword illuminated the area and became the only thing in the world. After the radiance flickered, Xiao Ying stopped. Xiao Ying stopped there. There was a bloody hole between his eyebrows. Then, with that hole as the center, his body split in half. One move had destroyed his body and soul. Everyone went crazy. The people from the Purple Mansion could not believe what they had seen. Xiao Ying had been killed in one move. That was the Double Crown champion who had been ranked in the top 10 of the Dragon Transformation battle. His strength had improved greatly over the past 5 years. However, he had been killed by Lin Wudi in one move. This was too shocking. Not only were the people from the Purple Mansion shocked, but the people from the Divine Union were also stunned. Murong Qingqing's eyes widened and the dark red divine dragon took a deep breath. Damn. What level had this kid reached? I have already said that all of you who came to kill me will have to pay the price. Lin Xian's eyes scanned the surroundings. Then he let out a furious roar. Countless sword chi rushed out of his body and turned into divine dragons that pierced in all directions. More than 10 figures that approached him were all pierced and nailed to the void. The others felt their scalps go numb as they retreated in fear. The people from the Golden Crow tribe trembled. Damn it. Lin Wudi's fighting strength was too heaven-defying. Had he become the Triple Crown champion? On the other side, the people from the Twin Destiny tribe were so frightened that they almost knelt on the ground. Now they regretted coming to kill Lin Xian. This was great. The people from the Divine Union cheered. Although they felt like they were in a dream, they saw hope. Wherever Lin Xian passed, lotuses would appear under his feet and the 9 heavens and 10 lands would shatter. With a wave of his hand, he took out the spear of great destruction and launched a counterattack. He did not even turn his head. However, the black great obliteration spear turned into a black lightning bolt and pierced through the 9 heavens. The first emissary was pierced through by the black great spear of annihilation, blasting him into pieces. He turned into a bloody mist and fled back into the Supreme Pagoda. It was only by relying on the supreme power of the Supreme Pagoda that he managed to preserve his life. However, he was also seriously injured. With a wave of his hand, the great destruction spear flew over. Like a demon god, Lin Xian walked forward once more. He stared at Yao Guang. Yao Guang's expression also darkened. In truth, he had been impatient to kill Lin Xian. Firstly, it was to prove himself. Secondly, it was to kill the other party. One less potential enemy. But now, he was shaken because he realized that Lin Xian was really too powerful. She was completely different from the person he knew. Just what kind of good fortune did this kid obtain in the extreme Tao world? Why did it become so terrifying? Just as he was thinking, Lin Xian arrived in front of him and said coldly, "Yao Guang, you want to kill me?" Yao Guang coldly snorted. "What if I say yes?" Just as he finished speaking, the great destruction turned into a bolt of lightning and struck towards him, courting death. His figure flashed and instantly disappeared, leaving a large crack in the void. He used the void ability and retreated, but his blood was churning and his expression was extremely ugly. He took a step forward. Yang Tian angrily shouted, "I'm not trash like Xiaoying. It won't be so easy for you to kill me." Buzz. Lin Xian's demon god wings unfurled and flapped lightly, instantly arriving in front of Yao Guang. The great destruction spear shot out again like a black dragon. The inheritance of the great emperor and the power of the great dragon sword soul merged together. Yao Guang angrily shouted. He did not dare to take it head-on and dodged again. At the same time he used the void ability, but it was useless. Everything was turned into ashes by the great destruction spear. Yao Guang's shoulder was swept and instantly collapsed, turning into a bloody mist. His bones were shattered. He was too powerful. He actually suppressed Yao Guang so easily. The surrounding Golden Crow clan and Destiny clan members were shocked. Even the Zifu clan members did not dare to believe it. Yao Guang had lost to Lin Wudi before, but that was after using all of his methods. However, the current Lin Xian was able to easily suppress a light-shaking realm cultivator. Yao Guang's broken shoulder quickly healed. He roared at the sky, "Damn it, I don't believe it. When did the gap between the two of them become so large? Why do I feel that Big Brother Xian's aura is different?" Murong Qingqing's beautiful eyes also flashed. Yen Ryu also frowned, but she could not tell what was different. They were not the only ones. The other sacred ancestors also had the same feeling. They felt that Lin Xian's aura was completely different from before. How could they know that Lin Xian had merged with the divine flame seed? At this moment, his body already carried a mysterious aura. Of course it was different from before. Not convinced? Lin Xian looked forward and coldly laughed. "Then I'll beat you until you're convinced." The great destruction spear danced and then slashed down. Yao Guang angrily shouted. He waved his hands, forming a black vortex. Devour. Not only could the demonic heaven-devouring technique devour others, but it also had a mysterious power. At this moment, it seemed to want to devour Lin Xian's attack. Boom. The great destruction spear was blocked. At this moment Lin Xian punched out. This punch carried a monstrous flame power, as if it could burn the 9 heavens. Suddenly the black vortex was punched through, and the punch landed on Yao Guang's body. Yao Guang was smashed into pieces. His body was ignited and he let out a miserable roar. Damn it. The primal chaos aura on his body completely erupted, suppressing heaven and earth. Only then was he able to escape. However, his expression had become incomparably ugly. Was he defeated? The other party easily destroyed his physique. One had to know that he already had a new primal chaos body. Damn it, what kind of power was this? In his mind, 9 Heavens Quasi-Emperor was also shocked. Yao Guang said, "Old thing, are you still not going to make a move? Don't you want to devour him? Use your power as a Quasi-Emperor." 9 Heavens Quasi-Emperor's expression was cold. "If I could do it myself, why would I need you? Previously, you devoured a part of my soul. Later, I destroyed the stone tablet in the Valley of No Return. Do you think I don't need power to restrain 3 supreme weapons? I don't have any power." Indeed, 9 Heavens Quasi-Emperor was very terrifying. He destroyed the stone tablet, and the 3 supreme weapons still hadn't returned. His methods were indeed terrifying. However, he was after all a remnant soul, so he couldn't come out at all to face Lin Xian. After hearing this, Yao Guang's expression became completely ugly. Originally, they had restrained the supreme weapons of the extreme Dao world. They thought that they had a chance of winning this time and could kill Lin Wudi. They would get everything they wanted. However, the current situation was completely beyond their expectations. Could it be that they had to return empty-handed today? In fact, the situation might be even more difficult than he had imagined, because Lin Xian didn't seem to intend to let him go. Demon God Seal. Chapter 5438. Yao Guang used the Primal Chaos Fist to fight back. The two of them fought an earth-shattering battle. The Primal Chaos Fist was no match for Yao Guang. Yao Guang was pushed back. He used the Bloodline Divine Axe and seemed to have turned into a giant. Die. Yao Guang roared angrily and charged over. Lin Xian didn't dodge at all. He opened his hands and grabbed at the Primal Chaos Axe. He put his hands together and slapped the Primal Chaos Axe. With a clang he caught hold of the giant axe. Damn. Impossible. The Purple Mansion Master jumped up. Her eyes were about to pop out of their sockets. The others were also shocked. What kind of divine power was this? There seemed to be a mysterious flame dancing between Lin Xian's eyebrows. After fusing with the divine fire seed, his strength had increased greatly. Moreover, he had experienced 500 years in the past. During this period of time, his strength had also increased. Therefore, Yao Guang was no match for him at all. Holding the primal chaos divine axe with both hands, Lin Xian kicked out. He kicked Yao Guang away like a coiling dragon. Yao Guang's body cracked again and he spat out mouthfuls of blood. Then Lin Xian didn't stop attacking. His fists swept down like a storm. Yao Guang's body, which had just healed, was broken again. Once, twice, thrice. Yao Guang's body was broken 10 times. In the end, he was pressed to the ground by the demon god seal. He spat out mouthfuls of blood, his eyes filled with despair. Defeated. He had lost so miserably. The surrounding people were all stunned. Yao Guang had the primal chaos body. He was ranked second in the dragon transformation station, second only to Lin Xian. Now he couldn't even fight back. Damn it. Yao Guang roared crazily. A hint of madness appeared in his eyes. In the next moment he turned into a black vortex and pounced at Lin Xian. He used the demonic heaven-devouring art to the extreme, wanting to devour Lin Xian by force. Not good. Murong Qingqing and the others cried out in alarm. Lin Xian sneered. He waved his hand and the black heaven-devouring jar appeared in his hand. He slammed it forward. It also turned into a giant vortex and swallowed Yao Guang. Light-shaking realm cultivators howled in pain. Lin Xian sneered. How could it be? After devouring so many experts over the years, it must be the taste of being devoured. The heaven-swallowing jar erupted with a terrifying radiance and Yao Guang went crazy. Help me, he cried for help. In his mind, the quasi-emperor of the 9 firmaments gritted his teeth. Damn it, he did not hesitate to damage his soul again to launch a world-shaking attack. The heaven-swallowing jar shook. Lin Xian's eyes also exploded with an extremely sharp light. Suppress him. So what if he had the remnant soul of a quasi-emperor? This time he would definitely not let him escape. A large amount of energy surged out from the sword world. The heavenly quasi-emperor was also helpless. His eyes were filled with despair. Could it be that he was going to die here this time? How dare you? When the Purple Mansion Master saw this, he hurriedly controlled the dragon pattern cauldron to descend. Boom. Above the dragon pattern tripod, the 2 dragons danced and intertwined. They attacked the heaven-swallowing jar and sent it flying. Only then had he managed to save Yao Guang. At this moment, Yao Guang's body was shattered, and he was in a miserable state. The soul of the quasi-emperor of the 9 firmaments in his mind was also injured and fell into a deep sleep. He was completely defeated in this battle. This was a good opportunity. Yen Ruyu, Murong Qingqing, and the others in the sky seized this opportunity and attacked crazily. Many people on the Purple Mansion's side were instantly swept by the extreme Dao weapons and turned into bloody mist. Even the 10,000 Dragons Court's 10,000 Dragons picture was suppressed again. Damn it. The 10,000 Dragons Court's sacred master roared crazily. He raised his head and looked at the first emissary in the sky. Is Mount Eternal still not going to make a move? The first emissary was also in a miserable state. He used the power of the Supreme Treasure Pagoda and barely blocked the attack. The Purple Mansion Master hurriedly brought Yao Guang and used the dragon pattern cauldron again. The 2 sides faced off. Lin Xian frowned slightly. Yao Guang was heavily injured, but with the protection of the extreme Dao weapons, it would not be easy to kill the other party. However, he quickly changed his target. In that case, he would make a move on the surrounding people. He walked over like a god walking in the mortal world. Countless streaks of sword chi, divine flames, and yin and yang auras appeared in his hands. Every time a streak of sword chi slashed down, someone from the Purple Mansion, the 10,000 Dragons Court, the Golden Crow Race, and the Twins of Destiny would die. In the blink of an eye, hundreds of experts had been turned into a sea of blood and fell in the surroundings. The entire space seemed to have turned into a Jura hell. Everyone went crazy. Retreat, hurry and retreat. The Golden Crow Race and the Twins of Destiny frantically ran away. In the end, all of them were killed. Only the Purple Mansion Master and some core members of the 10,000 Dragons Court were left. They were protected by the extreme Dao aura. Otherwise they would have died. The eyes of the 10,000 Dragons Court's dragons turned red. They had suffered such heavy losses this time. The Purple Mansion Master roared crazily. They were even more miserable. Xiaoying was dead and Yao Guang was heavily injured. These were 2 top-tier Double Crown champions, and they were young and had a boundless future. But now they had been beaten so badly by Lin Xian. Let's go. The Purple Mansion Master gritted his teeth. It was impossible to kill his opponent this time. It would be good enough if he wasn't killed by his opponent. He didn't dare to fight anymore. The eyes of the 10,000 Dragons court were red. They couldn't bear it. Damn it, ask Lord Dragon Tomb to come out. They were prepared to summon Lord Dragon Tomb again. Last time, when they were carefully preparing to kill Lin Xian, they had asked Lord Dragon Tomb to come out. However, in the end, a quasi-emperor appeared and scared Lord Dragon Tomb away. And now, this quasi-emperor had fought with the quasi-emperor of the primal chaos race and hadn't returned yet. Now that there was no quasi-emperor who could protect Lin Wuti, they were prepared to ask Lord Dragon Tomb again. The dragon chi on these people's bodies surged into the sky, forming a huge teleportation array. Endless dragon shadows appeared inside. In the next moment, an old figure appeared. As soon as he appeared, a terrifying aura spread in all directions. Everyone felt a sense of suppression because one of Lord Dragon Tomb's feet had already surpassed the Saint Realm. He was a very terrifying existence and he was the Tomb Keeper of the Dragon Emperor. His status was extraordinary and definitely not ordinary. Lord Dragon Tomb sat cross-legged in the void. He slowly opened his eyes. What's the matter? Summoning me? His voice was low and deep, and it carried a trace of supreme pressure. Dragons hurriedly said, asking Lord Dragon Tomb to kill Lin Wuti. Lin Wuti again. Lord Dragon Tomb frowned tightly. The Dragon Lord quickly relayed the news to him. Lord Dragon Tomb exclaimed, and an extremely terrifying light erupted from his eyes. He stood up. Was this a good opportunity to kill the other party? Since that was the case, he wouldn't give up. Young man, kneel down and accept your death. This time, no quasi-emperor can protect you. An extremely terrifying light erupted from Dragon Tomb's eyes. It turned into lightning and directly charged towards Lin Xian. Boom. Everywhere it passed, everything turned into ashes. It was terrifying to the extreme. The expressions of the others changed drastically. Lin Xian's pupils also constricted. He hurriedly used the heaven-swallowing jar. Chapter 54:39. The heaven-swallowing jar blocked this attack. Boundless spatial cracks were spreading all around. It made one's scalp go numb. Was it blocked? Lord Long Mu's face darkened. Half of the heaven-swallowing jar, He snorted coldly. Do you think this thing can protect your life? The killing intent on his body became even more terrifying. Lin Xian held the heaven-swallowing jar in his hand. He raised his head and looked at the old figure in the sky. He said coldly, "You are Long Xiaotian's guardian. Get lost now. Otherwise, I'll send you to hell to accompany him." The surrounding people were at a loss and unfamiliar with the name Long Xiaotian. Who was this person? However, the powerhouses of the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty narrowed their eyes, especially Lord Long Mu, who was instantly enraged. How dare you? How dare you call the Dragon Emperor by his name? Go to hell. Endless light appeared on his body. He even grabbed the 10,000 Dragons portrait with one hand and drew 10,000 dragon shadows that covered the sky and earth as they charged over. Lin Xian roared angrily, and the black vortex that filled the sky swallowed over. Murong Qingqing also released the power of the Desolate Tower to resist. The two of them barely resisted this attack. There was nothing they could do. Long Mu's cultivation was stronger than theirs, and he had already stepped out of the Saint Realm. The extreme weapon he used was really too terrifying. Old thing, do you really think I can't deal with you? Lin Xian was also furious. His eyes shone with an extremely terrifying light. This attack also caused his blood and chi to churn. He waved his hand and took out a figure from the sword world. It was an imposing man who stood tall and upright. His appearance caused the surrounding heaven and earth to crumble. Everyone couldn't help but want to kneel down and submit. Even Long Mu's pupils constricted. This was a quasi-emperor. He was so scared that he almost turned around and fled because he was already very close to this realm. Therefore he knew how terrifying a quasi-emperor's power was. In the era where the great emperor did not appear, this was a godlike existence that could sweep through everything. Yao Guang's pupils also constricted. He gritted his teeth and said, "Senior, don't be afraid. This is just the corpse of a quasi-emperor." Hearing this, Lord Long Mu stopped. He turned his head and a terrifying light burst out from his eyes. Was it just a corpse? He sneered. You think you can scare me with a corpse? What a joke. That's good as well. After I snatch this quasi-emperor corpse, I can study it. Perhaps in a few years, I will be able to become a new quasi-emperor. He was elated. However, Long Wu's brows were tightly knitted together. She said, "Don't underestimate the old ancestor. This guy can merge with the corpse of a quasi-emperor." He had to stop him. Hearing this, Lord Long Mu's eyes also burst with an extremely terrifying light. He held the myriad dragons picture in his hand and turned into a supreme god of war. A terrifying extreme Dao aura descended. Countless black vortexes appeared around Lin Xian to defend himself. At the same time, an extremely terrifying radiance erupted from his eyes. His soul entered the quasi-emperor corpse, wanting to control it. He had used it once before and its power was astonishing. However, something unexpected happened this time. Lin Xian's soul had just approached the quasi-emperor corpse and wanted to enter, but the moment it entered, it was bounced back. Lin Xian's soul returned to its original position. His body swayed and his face instantly turned pale. Damn it, what's going on? Lin Xian was stunned. His soul couldn't enter. He couldn't control this quasi-emperor corpse. The others were also stunned. What's going on? Murong Qingqing and the others were anxious, but Yao Guang, Long Wu and the others frowned. Soon they said that they couldn't merge with this quasi-emperor corpse. Great. Old ancestor, this is your chance. Quickly kill him. Can't merge? That's impossible. The dark red divine dragon and the others were anxious because Lin Xian had indeed merged with it before. Lin Xian also frowned. This is impossible. He tried again. However, his soul couldn't enter at all. What's going on? In an instant, Lin Xian understood that he was different from before. He had merged with a divine flame seed and had the power of a divine flame in his body. Not only his physique but also his soul. The quasi-emperor corpse in front of him most likely didn't walk the divine Dao, but the immortal Dao. The divine Dao and the immortal Dao condensed divine flames, and the immortal Qi condensed. Although the main force didn't form true immortal Qi, a wisp of immortal Qi seed was different from a divine flame. Therefore Lin Xian couldn't enter and control the other party now. This was truly unexpected news, and Lin Xian's brows were tightly knitted together. Lord Long Mu in the sky sneered. Kid, you don't have any trump cards, right? Since that's the case, you can die in peace. As he spoke, the 10,000 dragon picture in the sky became even more terrifying. He attacked forcefully, killing the other party and snatching the quasi-emperor corpse. Lin Xian's expression was cold. He put away the quasi-emperor corpse, and in the next moment, dragon scales grew on his body. The great dragon sword soul appeared, and the moment it appeared, it displayed unparalleled offensive power. Then Lin Xian transformed into a divine dragon and opened the sword world in his body. Infinite power surged out. Lin Xian roared towards the sky. This time, the power of his dragon transformation was even more terrifying than in the extreme Dao world. Kill. With a furious roar, he soared into the sky and fought with the 10,000 dragon picture. You're courting death. Long Mu snorted coldly. Do you think that you're a real dragon just because you transformed into a dragon? In his opinion, the 10,000 dragon picture could easily kill the other party. However, after a few collisions, the 10,000 dragon picture was actually helpless. The other party was using the power of the great dragon sword soul. Was he going to fuse with the great dragon sword? He was too shocked. He knew about the legend of the great dragon sword. Back then, the offensive power of heaven and earth fused with an ancestral dragon of their dragons to form the great dragon sword. Now that Lin Xian had transformed into a dragon, didn't this mean that he had the aptitude of an ancestral dragon? He gritted his teeth and roared. Endless power appeared on his body. He had white hair and turned into a handsome middle-aged man. It was obvious that he had used some of his true strength. One had to know that he was already very old. Usually he sealed his strength and lived in the state of an old man, because this could prolong his life. Now that he could desperately recover to his peak, he wanted to use all of his strength. The 10,000 dragon picture became even more terrifying in his hands. At the same time, a gourd appeared in his hand. A black gourd was spinning non-stop, spewing out endless Tao of dragon aura, which formed a suit of armor on his body. The armor contained a terrifying amount of power. Kid, do you know my identity? I'm the tomb keeper of the Dragon Emperor. I'm taking out an item from the Dragon Emperor's tomb. It's not something you can contend against. Go to hell. Sensing the power of this armor, the expressions of the surrounding people changed. Damn it, this is the Dragon Emperor's item, right? Murong Qingqing and the others were also shocked. Chapter 5440. Yin Ryu also frowned. She carefully sensed it and then shook her head. It was not a complete recovery. However, it far surpassed the extreme Dao power that we are using now. She also began to worry for Lin Xian. The people from the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty laughed. Kid, what do you have to contend against us dragons? Our 10,000 Dragon Dynasty is an emperor race. The methods and treasures left behind by the great emperor are not something you can imagine. Feeling the danger, Lin Xian also frowned. In the next moment he collided with the 10,000 dragon diagram. He was forced back and even spat out a mouthful of blood. Not dead yet? Everyone exclaimed. One had to know that the current extreme Dao weapons were too terrifying. However, Lin Xian was only injured. It was too unbelievable. Long Mu's eyes also erupted with an extremely terrifying light. He stretched the black gourd to its limit. From inside, an ocean-like aura of the Tao of dragons emerged. He was going to attack again. Recover his peak strength. He had consumed a lot of energy and it was very likely that he would speed up its death, so he was prepared to end the battle quickly. Lin Xian was also angry. He once again opened the sword world in his body. A competition of strength? Then let's go all out. He now had some power in the sword world, but it was mainly to maintain the growth of the spirit herbs inside and to recover the sword world. Therefore, Lin Xian was not willing to use it normally, but when it came to fighting with his life on the line he could not care less. Wasn't it just the power of the extreme Tao? He had also fully recovered the power of the great dragon sword spirit. However, at this moment the situation changed. A black ring flew out from the sword world and directly rushed out of this world. It arrived in front of Lin Xian. When Lin Xian saw the ring he was stunned. This was because he had obtained this black ring during this period of time. When he entered the oblique moon cave in the extreme Tao world, other than a stone monkey there was also a sleeping man. That man was sleeping on the dragon mountain formed by 10,000 dragons. He was extremely mysterious. There were countless dragons crawling beside him. Back then, Lin Xian thought that man was the Dragon Emperor. However, when he returned to 90,000 years ago, he realized that the Dragon Emperor was not that person. That person's identity? Lin Xian was suspicious again. She guessed that it must have something to do with the dragons. It was even possible that they were powerful dragons that were even more ancient than the Dragon Emperor. Now that one of his rings had flown out, what would happen next? The black ring appeared and flew to Lin Xian's left thumb before fusing together. In the next moment, Lin Xian felt an extremely terrifying radiance erupt from his left hand. The black ring suddenly fused with Lin Xian's left hand. At this moment, Lin Xian had transformed into a dragon, and his left hand was a dragon claw. This was a dragon claw that was emitting a black glow, as if it was made of black gold. An extremely terrifying power erupted. Lin Xian was shocked by this power. He could feel that there was unlimited power in his left hand. Kill. He did not dare to hesitate. In an instant, the dragon claw on his left hand swung out. He immediately turned into an aurora and charged at Lord Long Mu. Lord Long Mu's pupils constricted. Block it. He used the 10,000 dragons diagram to block it. In the next moment the two collided. Endless aurora formed between heaven and earth, and the entire nether sky continent shook violently. At this moment, not only the nether sky continent but the entire burial earth star sensed it. They looked into the distance. Shocking. Extreme Tao confrontation. Who was it? Was there another war between the Emperor clans? It was really too unbelievable. The other Emperor clans, the Yi clan, the Gu clan, the Phoenix clan, and the Qilin clan all looked up at the sky. This was the aura of an extreme weapon, the 10,000 dragons diagram. The other was also the aura of a dragon. Their brows furrowed tightly. They did not know who was fighting. Retreat. The people near the battle retreated frantically. Murong Qingqing Yen Ryu, and the others withdrew their extreme weapons and led the people of the Divine Union to retreat into the distance. They were not the only ones. The Purple Mansion, the dragons, the Golden Crows, and the others all fled. The number 1 emissary of Mount Eternal also retreated. The place where Lin Xian was turned into a land of nothingness. At this moment, a scream was heard as blood dripped from the sky. Someone was injured. They looked up nervously. The 10,000 Dragons dynasty was also nervous. Who was it? Was it Lord Long Mu or Lin Xian? 10,000 Dragon dynasty's Long Wu gritted her teeth and said, "What kind of status did Lord Long Mu have? He had already taken out the treasure from the Dragon Emperor's tomb. How could he be injured?" "Yes, that's right." The other dragons also nodded. Lord Long Mu was definitely an invincible existence this time. On the other side, the people of the Divine Union were nervous. Could it be that Brother Shen was injured? Damn it, it was possible. How could the Dragon Emperor's things be simple? That power was too strong. The dark red dragon and the others gritted their teeth. Bai Susu was also nervous. If Lin Xian was injured, they had to quickly take him away. Murong Qingqing and Yen Ryu nodded. They were ready to make a move at any time. However, when they saw the scene in front of them, they were stunned. They were not the only ones. The 10,000 Dragons dynasty was dumbfounded. The people of the Purple Mansion were shocked. The others were even more stunned because the one who was injured was not Lin Xian. It was Lord Longmu. At this moment, Lin Xian transformed into a dragon and used the power of his divine body and dragon soul to block the 10,000 dragons portrait. His dragon claws pierced through Lord Longmu's body. Fresh blood dripped from Lord Longmu's wound, piercing through heaven and earth. A huge crack appeared on the entire Yutian continent. This was the blood of a saint. It was too strong. Nothing could stop it. Everyone sucked in a cold breath. The Purple Mansion Lord exclaimed. This was impossible. How could Lin Wuti be so strong? Had he fully recovered his great dragon sword soul? The people of the dragons were even more crazy. The dragon's divine ancestor shook his head frantically. They were about to kneel down. Impossible. Lord Longmu would definitely not be injured. What they saw was an illusion. Longwu's face was also pale. Lord Longmu's strength was terrifying. Furthermore, he was wearing dragon armor. That was something from the Dragon Emperor's tomb. It could definitely increase Lord Longmu's defense infinitely. However, the armor was broken and Lord Longmu was injured. How did Lin Wuti do it? The people of the Divine Union exclaimed. He had succeeded. The dark red dragon couldn't believe it. Murong Qingqing and the others also widened their eyes. Brother Xian's strength was beyond their imagination. This trump card was too strong. Could it be that this was a fortune obtained in the extreme Dao world? Longmu was also stunned. The injuries on her body made her go crazy. He was injured? What a joke. However, the truth was right in front of her. She lowered her head and looked at the dragon claw. At this moment, Lin Xian's dragon claw had turned black. It was as if it was made of black dragon metal. Chapter 54-41. Even Lin Xian couldn't believe that he could injure the other party so easily. He looked at the shocked face and his lips curled into a smile. How is it? Aren't you surprised? Do you really think that you can kill me just because you have something from the Dragon Emperor's tomb? Too naive. As he spoke, he exerted force with his dragon claw and sent Lord Longmu flying. Lord Longmu screamed. He was seriously injured. Go. The 10,000 Dragon Court's divine ancestor's expression changed drastically when he saw this scene. He hurriedly took Lord Longmu away. They took the 10,000 dragons portrait and turned into streaks of light and disappeared. Damn it, let's go too. The people from the Purple Mansion also hurriedly fled. This time their losses were really too heavy. The people from the Golden Crow clan and the Twins of Destiny had all died. Of the 9 envoys from Mount Eternal, only the first light-shaking realm was left. He was seriously injured and had to flee. Nearly half of the people from the Purple Mansion and the 10,000 Dragon Court had died. More importantly, many of those who had died were top-notch experts. Even Lord Longmu had been injured. It could be said that it was a complete defeat. Did we win? The people from the Divine Union were also stunned. That's great. Lin Xian looked at his black dragon claw and was also surprised. The black metal on his palm disappeared and turned into a black ring that floated in the air again. The power on the ring had completely disappeared. He didn't know when he could use it again. Lin Xian put away the black ring. This was really a powerful trump card. Brother Xian, are you okay? Murong Qingqing and the others flew over. Lin Xian's face was pale. He wasn't seriously injured, but he had overexerted himself this time. Are you all okay? Murong Qingqing and the others shook their heads. Then Yen Ryu frowned and looked into the distance. What was that terrifying aura? While they were fighting, there was a terrifying aura erupting somewhere in the Nether Sky continent. There was even a huge light flickering. Lin Xian's expression changed when he felt this aura. He said, "It's a few extreme weapons from the extreme Dao world. What are they attacking? Take a look." They rose into the air and flew towards that place. In front of him, the 8 trigrams flickered, and the destruction spear exploded with power. The treasured bottle of life also released its aura, and together they suppressed the Valley of No Return. However, a terrifying roar came from the Valley of No Return, as if something was trying to rush out. Damn it. Where exactly did that broken half of the stone tablet go? The 8 trigrams roared. He had searched the entire burial Earth star, but he could not find anything. Could it be that someone had tossed it into outer space? That would be troublesome. The universe was too big. Without any clues, who knew where he would fall? Could it be that something from the Valley of No Return was really going to come out this time? Mount Eternal and the Valley of No Return had already come out. If they were to come out, the situation would be more dangerous than they had imagined. Just as they were panicking, Lin Xian and the others rushed over from behind. "Seniors, what's going on?" Lin Xian and the others asked after they arrived. The Black Tortoise 8 trigrams was overjoyed. "Great, you guys are here. Quick, how many more extreme weapons do you have? Take it out. Together, they suppressed the valley in front of them. They absolutely could not let the thing inside out. What was in this valley? Lin Xian and the others were also surprised. Was there such a terrifying place in the Nether Sky continent? Looking at the valley in front of them, Lin Xian felt as if he had come to Mount Eternal. He knew that this should be a forbidden land of death. Let's do it, he said to Qing Cheng and Ryu. They nodded and the desolate tower, green lotus and heaven-devouring jar bloomed. Let's do it together, he said to the people of the Divine Union. There were 3 more extreme weapons. This time their power was completely unleashed. The thing in the Valley of No Return was blasted back. The Valley of No Return was gradually sealed. The 8 trigrams Black Tortoise said, "Give me the extreme aura. I will condense it and form a seal." His 8 trigrams kept spinning and absorbing the power of the other extreme weapons. Once again, it formed a seal and temporarily replaced the half of the stone tablet that had disappeared. The Valley of No Return gradually calmed down. The Black Tortoise 8 trigrams heaved a sigh of relief. Great, at least that thing didn't come out. This time the 3 extreme weapons had consumed too much power. He turned his head to look at Lin Xian, Murong Qingchen and the others and said, "Thank you for taking action this time. Otherwise, the entire Burial Earth Star would be in big trouble." What was this? What was in the valley? Why was it so terrifying? The dark red dragon frowned and asked. Lin Xian and the others were also curious. The Valley of No Return was like Mount Eternal. There was a mortal supremacy in it. Another mortal supremacy. Lin Xian was shocked when he heard this. Could it be that every forbidden land of death had a mortal supremacy? Was it the power of a mortal supremacy that turned that place into a forbidden land? No one else could enter. Yen Ryu and the others were also puzzled. What was a mortal supremacy? Was it very powerful? How was it compared to a boundary emperor? How was it compared to a great emperor? The Aquarius of life shook its head. A mortal supremacy was indeed very terrifying. Moreover, no one knew what they would do after they came out. It was very likely that people would be plunged into misery and suffering. Therefore, they couldn't let them come out for the time being, at least not now. Bai Susu and the others were worried. What about Mount Eternal? Mount Eternal had already come out. The Black Tortoise 8 trigrams said that the mortal supremacy of Mount Eternal wouldn't come out for a while. Otherwise, he wouldn't have created the 10 great emissaries. Therefore, there was still time. Alright, little guy. You don't have to worry about these things first. We will think of a way to deal with it. Then he looked at Lin Xian. You don't have any bottlenecks anymore. Then you should search for power as soon as possible and strive to become a quasi-emperor as soon as possible. We have to go back. The extreme Tao world will also be sealed. However, if you want to find us, you can come to the Nether Sky continent. Use this to pass on my message. With that, the Black Tortoise 8 trigrams gave Lin Xian an 8 trigrams rune to pass on the message. Lin Xian took it and nodded. She said, "I understand." Then he returned with Murong Qingqing and the others. On the other side, the 3 extreme weapons also heaved a sigh of relief. Let's go. They were ready to return to the extreme Tao world. The extreme Tao world was usually in a sealed state. It would only be opened for a period of time during the dragon transformation battle. Next, they would have to undergo a long period of sealing. Of course, they weren't idle inside. They were all carefully preparing. When they returned to the extreme Tao world, they were stunned. Because they found that a figure was rushing directly into the extreme Tao world. Who was it? Why did he want to enter the extreme Tao world at this time? Stop. The destructive spear snorted coldly, and a destructive aura rushed over. Chapter 54-42. An extremely terrifying destructive slash came down, and the figure in front stopped abruptly. In the next moment there was a roar and endless light bloomed on his body. Then a huge iron rod flew over and collided with the destructive aura. With a boom, a terrifying light exploded between heaven and earth, and the figure was pushed back. However, the destructive spear was surprised. He didn't die? It seemed that the person who came was not ordinary, and that weapon was also extremely extraordinary. He was furious, and the destructive aura on his body erupted again. However, the Black Tortoise 8 trigrams stopped him from attacking. He looked in front of him in shock. Could it be him? The treasured bottle of life also frowned. That iron rod, could it be? He gasped. This time, the destructive spear also saw it clearly. In front of him was a monkey holding a huge iron rod in his hand, and he was staring at the sky angrily. Damn it, do you think I'm easy to bully? What are you doing here? The Black Tortoise 8 trigrams asked. The dragon transformation battle had already ended. Sun Qitian shouted coldly. What dragon transformation battle? I'm not interested. I came here because I felt that there was a force that was calling me. It should be him. The treasured bottle of life was also surprised. The destructive spear nodded. I didn't expect him to come. Bring him in. The three extreme weapons shone brightly, and they directly shrouded the monkey below. Then they brought him into the extreme path world. In the next moment, the extreme path world slowly sealed and disappeared. When he appeared again, Sun Qiqian roared crazily. Damn it, you dare to seal me? He was really angry. I'm not afraid of you. He could feel that these three extreme weapons were extremely terrifying, but he wasn't afraid of them. Don't worry, little monkey, we have no ill intentions towards you. Didn't you feel a force calling you? We'll bring you there now. As they spoke, they quickly flew in the extreme path world. In an instant, they arrived at the monkey mountain. Go. Sun Qiqian was stunned this time, because he found that there was indeed a familiar force in the monkey mountain. It was calling him. He nodded and descended. He heaved a sigh of relief when he saw the three extreme grade weapons. Now that he had come, it could be said that he had fulfilled one of his wishes. Let's go. The three extreme weapons disappeared into the void. Below, Monkey 3 had an endless supply of spirit monkeys. When they sensed that someone had landed, they also acted as if they were facing a great enemy. Many people rushed out. Among them were Ling Yu and the others. Ling Yu shouted. Who dares to come to our monkey mountain and behave atrociously? It's I, old son. Sun Qiqian also landed on the ground. He was just too surprised. He was surrounded by spirit monkeys. Ling Yu and the others were equally shocked when they saw that it was actually a monkey. However, this monkey was different from them. Its bloodline was extremely terrifying. They couldn't help but want to kneel and worship him. What kind of soul was this? Your bloodline really shocked them. Some of the older spirit foxes from the monkey mountain also walked out. These were the elders of the spirit monkey clan who had fought with the hell demon statue. These elders were out on a mission, so they were not present. At this moment they had all returned. When they saw Sun Qiqian, they were also shocked. They continued to worship him, because this bloodline caused them to feel extremely excited. This was the king of the monkeys. The other spirit monkeys were stunned as well. They looked at each other as if they were looking at gods. Sun Qiqian also retracted the energy in his body. He said, I don't have any evil intentions here. I sense the summoning force. That's why I'm here. The summoning force? Could it be? One of the elders narrowed his eyes. Monkey King, please follow me. He brought Sun Qiqian to the slanted moon cave. When they arrived, Sun Qiqian was so excited that his body started to tremble. This was because he sensed that the force was getting stronger. What you want might be inside. Sun Qiqian walked into the slanted moon cave. The surrounding spirit monkeys were waiting outside. When Sun Qiqian entered the slanted moon cave, he sensed a terrifying force. The iron rod in his hand shone brightly and enveloped him. As he walked, he finally saw a towering tree in front of him. It was a Bodhi tree. Under the Bodhi tree there was a stone with its back facing him. When he sensed the stone monkey, Sun Qiqian's body started to tremble again. His eyes were red. He came in front of the stone monkey. With tears in his eyes, he slowly knelt down. Father. On the other side, Lin Xian and the others returned to the Holy Abyss ancient city. They had returned to the Divine Union. After returning, Lin Xian had a good rest. Now that he was no longer in danger, he could relax. In the remaining time, he would recuperate and restore his body to its peak. At the same time, he had to nurture the divine flame seed in his body. However, if he wanted the divine flame seed to grow, he needed power. Moreover, he needed an endless amount of power. If he wanted to become a quasi-emperor, he would need to consume too much power. Given the power of Lin Xian's sword world, it was not enough. Moreover, he needed to nurture the spiritual herbs in the Four-Spirit Valley. He also had to restore the sword world. More importantly, he had to use the power inside to activate the Heaven-Devouring Jar or the Great Dragon Sword Soul at any time. Therefore, if he could not use these powers, he would need other powers. Fortunately, the Divine Union was now a top-notch sect that was not weaker than the remote antiquity families. Lin Xian could use the resources in the Divine Union as he wished. He had asked Bai Susu to gather enough resources for him to absorb. However, he realized that the Divine Flame Seed did not grow much. It could even be said that it was very slow and there was no change. This gave Lin Xian a headache. Although he had become a quasi-emperor, he was not at peace. However, he had consumed too much power. Even if he used the power of the entire Divine Union, it would not be enough. Lin Xian found Murong Qingqing, Yen Ryu, the dark red divine dragon, the toad, Bai Susu, and the others. They began to discuss. They were also very curious. What kind of opportunity had Lin Xian obtained? Tell them quickly. Lin Xian said, I obtained a seed, the divine flame seed. It will allow me to break through to the quasi-emperor without any bottlenecks. Murong Qingqing and the others were stunned when they heard this. One had to know that Murong Qingqing had been with the Phoenix race all these years. She had seen many experts of the Phoenix race, including her master, the old Phoenix. However, these people were all at the peak of the great sage and could not take that crucial step. This was because there was a bottleneck that blocked them like a natural moat. No matter how hard they tried, they could not take that step. This was a power that made countless experts despair. It was too difficult to cross the sage realm and become a quasi-emperor. Even the tomb keeper of the dragon monarch, Lord Long Mu, had only taken one step. He had not completely become a quasi-emperor. As for the others who had become quasi-emperors, they were all super experts that could shake heaven and earth. Perhaps they had great opportunities or talents that were rarely seen in tens of thousands of years. They were extremely rare. However, Lin Xian no longer had a bottleneck. As long as he had enough power, he could become a quasi-emperor. Chapter 54-43. The Dark Red Dragon and the others were all extremely envious. Lin Xian laughed bitterly. Actually, the price was also very high. For example, if I want to break through now, I will need to consume a lot of energy. After saying that, he looked at Bai Susu. The resources you gave me before were not enough. Bai Susu rolled her eyes after hearing that. That little? Heavens, I gave you a lot, okay. Why do I feel like you are a bottomless pit? He shook his head and said. Yanryu asked, what do you plan to do next? After all, Lin Xian did not have any bottlenecks now. He did not need to comprehend the heavenly Tao. He could break through to become a quasi-emperor. Therefore, he only needed to gather resources. Lin Xian said that he naturally needed energy. The more energy, the better. Big brother Xian, do you have a target? We can all help you. That's right, kid. Where are you going to explore? The toad and the others asked. Bai Susu said. Buried Emperor Star. A lot of resources have been taken by the various clans and sections. Therefore, I feel that we should go to other worlds to take a look. Maybe we can attack more worlds. Next, Alluring Beauty and the others expressed their thoughts one after another. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes after hearing that. Then he shook his head. No, you're all too slow. Slow. Bai Susu rolled her eyes. I've already told you everything as fast as I can. After attacking those worlds, you can absorb the resources in those worlds. You actually think it's slow. As she said that, she rubbed her forehead with her palm and sighed. Then there is only one way. You can go and snatch the Emperor race. She just said that casually. The Dark Red Dragon and the others did not take it seriously. However, Lin Xian's eyes lit up. He sat up straight and a smile appeared on his face. Susu, that's a good idea. It's the Emperor race. What? Bai Susu almost fainted after hearing that. Lin Xian, I was just saying it casually. You really want to take the Emperor race? The Emperor race has been passed down for tens of thousands of years. They all have Emperor weapons. If they were really desperate, the other party might even awaken their extreme weapons. How were they supposed to fight then? The Crimson Dragon was also shocked. Damn kid, you're playing too big. The Toad was delighted. He said, I support you. Which great Emperor clan do you want to attack? Move aside. Yanryu and Murong Qingqing also tried to persuade him. However, Lin Xian said, don't you think that the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty is too arrogant? It's always them who come to attack me. Besides, Wan Longqiao and I are already mortal enemies. They won't let me off either. Since that was the case, why couldn't they target them? Lin Xian's eyes shone with a cold light. Yanryu sucked in a cold breath. You really want to attack the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty? Lin Xian shook his head. No, not the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty, but the Dragon Emperor tomb. The tomb of the Great Emperor. Murong Qingqing was surprised, and so were the others. They didn't expect that not only did Lin Xian have designs on the Emperor clan, he even had designs on the Great Emperor. This was too crazy. Lin Xian had his own thoughts. The 10,000 Dragon Dynasty was indeed despicable. They were mortal enemies and he had killed the Dragon Prince. Moreover, he had offended the Dragon Emperor 90,000 years ago. Since he had already offended him, he might as well go all out and attack the other party's tomb. A great emperor's tomb was definitely filled with countless treasures. If Lin Xian could attack it, then he would be able to obtain a huge amount of power. Next, he could evolve his God Flame Seed. Lin Xian made a decision. Let's do it. Next, we'll attack the Dragon Emperor's tomb. Murong Qingqing and the others were going crazy. They persuaded him that it was too dangerous. However, Lin Xian shook his head. He was firm in his thoughts. A few days later, the Crimson Dragon and the others had no choice but to agree. Murong Qingqing said, "Okay brother Xian, I support you. I'll go with you." Yin Ryu also nodded. "The great emperor's tomb? I'm really looking forward to it. Count me in." "Of course," Lin Xian said with a smile, "the two of you have to go. Moreover, you have to bring an extreme-grade weapon." Lin Xian only had half an extreme-grade weapon in his hands. He couldn't win it all. Therefore this time he had to find more people. As for the benefits, they could take whatever they wanted after attacking the great emperor's tomb. This matter can't be rushed. We have to plan carefully. Bai Susu also said that the 10,000 Dragon Court had many allies. If they really fought, the other party could also call for many extreme-grade weapons. Yen Ryu said, "Not necessarily. If we have an absolute advantage, the other families and sects might not really help. After all, they can also enter and get a share of the loot after opening the Dragon Emperor's tomb. Therefore, as long as we are tough, those people might just wait and see." Lin Xian nodded. "Ryu is right. I think that's also possible. How about this? Contact the Yi family and ask if they want to join forces. Then, gather the strength of the Divine Union. As for the others, don't tell them for now. We're going to launch a thunder strike. We'll catch them off guard." "Okay, I got it. I'll go now." Bai Susu nodded. She and the Dark Red Dragon went to gather the allies of the Divine Union. Yen Ryu was in charge of gathering the strength. As for Murong Qingqing, she went to the Yi family to discuss with them. At the same time, they sent people to gather information about the 10,000 Dragon Court and the other families and sections. They were waiting for the right time. Lin Xian was overseeing the Divine Union. At the same time, he went out from time to time to attract the attention of the world. This way it would be easier for the others to act. Lin Xian hadn't been seriously injured before and his condition had been adjusted. Therefore he strolled around St. Origin Ancient City when he had nothing to do. Countless geniuses and experts gathered in the ancient city. When they saw Lin Xian, they were also shocked. "Look, it's Lin Wudi. He's a godlike figure. It's said that he was first in the dragon transformation trial. Not only that, but do you know about the previous battle? When Lin Wudi came out of the extreme Dao realm, he was besieged. The 10,000 Dragon Court, the Purple Mansion, the Golden Crow Tribe, and Mount Eternal all sent experts to kill him. It was an earth-shattering battle. In the last few years, even extreme Dao weapons came out. However, in the end, Lin Wudi still came back alive. It was said that all the people sent by the Golden Crow Tribe had died. Only one of the 10 envoys from Mount Eternal was left. The Purple Mansion and the 10,000 Dragon Court were also in a miserable state. The Purple Mansion's double champion, Xiaoying, was dead and Yao Guang was seriously injured. The 10,000 Dragon Court was even more miserable. It was said that one of their ancestors was seriously injured. He had almost died. Exclamations of surprise rang out one after another. Actually, it wasn't just the ancient city. The entire Burial Earth Star knew about this. Of course, Lin Xian had asked the Divine Union to release this news in order to ruthlessly slap these people's faces. Chapter 54-44. When the results of this battle spread, the entire Burial Earth Star was stunned. Everyone was terrified. Lin Wudi was really too terrifying. He was the #1 demon king. No one could provoke him. The people of the Burial Earth Star were even more terrified. The ancient families and great sects felt their scalps go numb. The young elites were also dumbfounded. Xiaoying had been killed. Xiaoying was one of the top 10 existences in the Visual Dragon Station. He was so powerful that countless people looked up to him. However, such a person had died at the hands of Lin Xian. What was even more shocking was that only the #1 emissary of Mount Eternal was left. The other 9 emissaries had all fallen. These were all double champions. Countless people were terrified. Therefore, when they saw Lin Xian come out, they all felt their scalps go numb. The enemies all ran far away, not daring to come out. Only a few admirers were looking at him with stars in their eyes. The people of the Divine Union were extremely excited. The young geniuses all ran over to be Lin Xian's followers. However, the family heads of the Divine Union's family clans, as well as some extremely frightening elders, gasped. They had received orders to head to the Divine Union's headquarters. When they arrived, Bai Susu told them a piece of earth-shattering news. They were going to attack the Dragon Emperor's tomb. This was unbelievable. That was the tomb of a great emperor. Was this young Master Lin's idea? That's right. Bai Susu nodded. This matter was absolutely confidential. No one was allowed to speak of it. Otherwise, they knew what the consequences would be. Of course, they had been in the Divine Union for so long. Had they been mistreated? Once the great emperor's tomb was opened, they could also share the resources inside. The Nalan family head stood up and said, I'm willing to follow young Master Lin. That was for sure. The Dugu family, the Fire Dragon family, the Eternal Life Hall, and the Fire God Palace all nodded in agreement. The others also took a deep breath. They had decided to follow Lin Xian and attack the Great Emperor's tomb. On the other side, Yen Ryu was also mobilizing resources quickly. This was because they might have to use extreme weapons many times. The amount of energy required each time they used an extreme weapon was too much. Fortunately, there were many ancient families and great sects in the Divine Union. Furthermore, these clans and sects had control over many of the world's resources, which they could easily mobilize. Yen Ryu knew that this time, it was very likely that the extreme weapons would be fully recovered. Therefore she had to prepare a little more. As for Qingqing, she went to the Yi clan and was personally summoned by the Yi clan. He didn't dare to be careless. She was Lin Xian's Dao companion, and she was also one of the top 10 in the dragon transformation trial. It was a 7-colored phoenix. Luo Yunyang didn't know if the other party was representing the Phoenix tribe or the Divine Union. After Murong Qingqing arrived, she did not hesitate and directly stated her intention. The Yi clan's patriarch was dumbfounded. These youngsters were too bold. They actually dared to attack a great emperor's clan. Wouldn't that be too risky? The head of the Yi family frowned. He wondered if Lin Xian had won first place in the dragon transformation battle and defeated the Thousand Dragon Empire. Did he really think that he could take over the great monarch clan? The Yi clan was also a big clan. They naturally knew how terrifying a martial monarch clan's background was. Fatally beautiful fairy, we have to discuss this matter. Someone invite the fatally beautiful fairy to rest. Murong Qingqing rested in the Yi clan for 3 days. The Yi clan's patriarch looked for the core elders and the Taihang elder to discuss this matter. The supreme elders and experts all sucked in a breath of cold air. After 3 days of discussion, they finally decided not to make a move. After all, they had a lot of concerns. More importantly, Yi Wudao was still in seclusion and had yet to come out. They didn't think too much about it. On the 4th day, the Yi clan's patriarch invited Murong Qingqing over. I'm afraid the Yi clan won't make a move on this matter. However, don't worry, fatally beautiful fairy. If the Divine Union is in danger, the Yi clan will lend a hand when necessary. Alright, I got it. Murong Qingqing nodded. She then went back to tell Lin Xian the news. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes when he heard this. He also knew that it wouldn't be easy to invite the other great emperor clans. After all, this was a direct attack on the ancient tomb of a great emperor. He said, Qingqing, go to the Phoenix clan. I believe the Phoenix clan will agree. Murong Qingqing returned to the Phoenix clan and found the old Phoenix and the Phoenix clan's patriarch. This explained what they were thinking. The Phoenix clan was naturally shocked and had many different ideas. Some people felt that they could join forces with the Divine Union. After all, Murong Qingqing was a member of the Phoenix clan. She also had a very close relationship with the Divine Union. The Thousand Dragon Court probably hated them. Murong Qingqing naturally wouldn't be kind to the Phoenix clan. Of course, some people also felt that it wasn't advisable to completely fall out with the Thousand Dragon Court. The old Phoenix and the Phoenix clan's patriarch discussed and finally decided to send some powerhouses. This was considered support. However, the great emperor soldiers wouldn't go. After all, their princess, Fengjiu, was still undergoing the ancient emperor lord's test in the Phoenix clan. Therefore they had to protect the clan. However, they had indeed made up their minds this time. Not only did they provide a large amount of resources to revive the desolate tower, but they also provided a large amount of resources. They also sent many powerhouses from the Phoenix clan. Murong Qingqing made an agreement with them and then returned. Lin Xian nodded when he heard the news. This was already considered a very good situation. At the same time, he also contacted the people from the Heavenly Court and the 9-star immortal platform of the Yuhua immortal dynasty. Various factions were gathering towards the Divine Union. Finally, the day came and Lin Xian felt that it was about time. Through the investigation of the people he sent, the Thousand Dragon Court had returned and was recuperating. The other clans were also badly injured. These people wouldn't be able to join forces for the time being. It was time to attack. They had set up a large number of teleportation arrays and were ready to teleport at any time. On the other side, Lin Xian, Murong Qingqing and the others also soared into the sky and charged towards the Dragon Emperor's tomb. Some of the tombs of the great emperors were in the Emperor clan. Of course, there were also some that weren't. Instead, the great emperors had personally chosen a place with good feng shui to be buried after death. The Dragon Emperor's tomb wasn't in the Emperor clan but somewhere else. There were tomb keepers and Long Mu personally guarding it. This place was very mysterious. Even in the Dragon Clan aside from Long Mu, only a few people knew about it. The other powerhouses didn't know about it either. It was even more impossible for the other clans to know about it. However, Lin Xian had fought with Long Mu before. He had even injured Long Mu and left an indestructible sword chi in his body. Therefore Lin Xian could rely on this trace of sword chi to search for the tomb. In fact, Lin Xian had already sensed it a long time ago. That huge dragon sword chi had stopped at a certain place. Obviously, Long Mu had returned to the tomb to recover. Chapter 54-45. Tianshan Land, one of the main roads on Burial Earth Star. There was a mountain range on the Tianshan Land that looked extremely ordinary. However, Lin Xian felt that the aura of the great dragon sword soul had stopped here. Was it this place? The toad frowned and said, "Kid, are you mistaken? That was an ancient great emperor and a great emperor of the dragons. Would he be buried in such an ordinary place?" Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. The power of reincarnation in his eyes began to bloom as he looked in all directions. On the other side, the dark red divine dragon was also suspicious. He seemed to have thought of something and quickly looked around. He descended and came to the ground to look for mountains and rivers. Then he soared into the sky and called out softly. There was a peerless formation here that covered everything. That's right, the reincarnation light in Lin Xian's eyes kept blooming. He said that there was indeed a peerless formation, and an extremely terrifying one. Murong Qingqing and the others also gasped when they heard this. Yen Ryu frowned. Is this a formation set up by the great emperor? If that's the case, we can't enter at all? Lin Xian snorted. So what if it's a formation set up by the great emperor? This time we brought several supreme Dao weapons. And enough power. If we attack together, we can definitely open this place. That's right. Murong Qingqing also nodded. Since they had found the place, let's make a move. Next they attacked. The ancient desolate tower, green lotus, and the heaven-swallowing jar, 3 supreme Dao weapons appeared instantly. Then, terrifying supreme Dao power shone in all directions. At this moment, everyone on the Tianshan Land sensed it. There was a supreme Dao presence in the sky. Damn it, what happened? Before they could react, suddenly an earth-shattering sound came. The entire Tianshan Land shook violently, and countless cracks spread in the sky. Those people all fell to the ground in fear. At this moment, regardless of the powerful families and sects of the Tianshan Land or the demonic beasts in the endless mountain range, they were all scared silly. They kept kneeling in the distance. Could it be that the emperor race wanted to destroy them? Not only the Tianshan Land, everyone on the other continents also sensed it. After all, the entire Burial Earth Star would be able to sense the presence of an extreme weapon. What's going on? I seem to have sensed the aura of the heaven-swallowing jar. Damn it, it was Lin Wudi, right? Who was he planning to attack now? Some of the enemies acted as if they were facing a great enemy. That was because the current Lin Xian was simply too terrifying. He was now known as the #1 demonic god. He was simply a killing god and no one dared to provoke him. However, when they sensed it carefully, they frowned. It was because they realized that the other party seemed to be attacking from the distant Tianshan Land. What was going on? Did anyone in the Tianshan Land provoke him? The members of the Golden Crow tribe and the Gemini of Destiny tribe heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, they weren't targeted at them. Purple, the Gu clan, and the others were incomparably puzzled. The 10,000 Dragon Dynasty's disciples were quite shocked and wondered which unlucky person had offended them. However, the pupils of the old sacred lords of the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty constricted. Profound Sky Continent. They had a bad premonition because their dragon's tomb was buried there. Could it be that they were going to attack the dragon's tomb? I sensed the presence of several supreme Dao weapons. It shouldn't be, that guy couldn't have found the Dragon Emperor's tomb. For your information, the Dragon Emperor's tomb was protected by a peerless Great Emperor formation. The other Great Emperor clans could not even find it, not to mention this kid. A few supreme elders discussed here as they felt it was unlikely. Endless cracks spread across the Tianshan Land as the supreme Dao presence swept across all directions. No one dared to come. However, a few figures stood in the sky. They were Lin Xian and the others. They looked at the scene before them and exclaimed in surprise. Indeed, there was a formation. Previously, they used 3 supreme Dao weapons to launch a world-shaking attack. When it clashed with the Great Emperor formation, it tore open a crack. The Great Emperor's array was like a mirror, shattering an area. The scene inside also emerged. After Lin Xian and the others saw it, they were even more astonished. It was an ordinary mountain range, but it was not ordinary at all inside the formation. Between heaven and earth, there were countless great Daos surrounding it. The dragon aura turned into dragon shadows that wandered between heaven and earth, filled with a sacred presence. Inside, ancient trees towered into the sky, spiritual herbs were everywhere, and flowers were falling everywhere. It was filled with endless vitality as if it was a land of immortals. The toad looked at the scene inside the formation while looking at the surrounding ordinary mountain range. The gap between the two sides was too big. Damn, as expected of the ancient great emperor. It was indeed powerful. Who would have thought that under this ordinary mountain range, there was a peerless treasure land hidden? Great, the dark red divine dragon was also overjoyed. There must be heaven-defying treasures in the dragon emperor's tomb. This time we're rich. However, a figure appeared in this fairy-like scene. It was an old figure. After he appeared, he looked up at the sky and his scalp went numb. Lin Wuti, it's you. This is impossible. How did you find this place? This person was Lord Long Mu. At this moment, he was standing in the Dragon Emperor's tomb, completely stunned. One must know that in the Thousand Dragon Dynasty, less than 5 people knew about this place. But now, Lin Wuti actually found it. How did he do it? Why, are you surprised? Do you think the Dragon Emperor's tomb is a supreme secret? But unfortunately, I know about it. Damn it, Lin Wuti, this is not a place where you can come. Hurry up and get lost or I'll destroy your star soul. He was really crazy. If this secret was discovered, then Burial Earth Star would know. Next, the other great emperor families might have designs on the Dragon Emperor's tomb. If the Dragon Emperor's tomb was really opened, he wouldn't be able to explain it to the dragons. After he died, he wouldn't be able to explain it to the Dragon Emperor. Therefore he roared crazily. Previously, he was injured in the battle with Lin Xian, and even his foundation was injured. After all, he was already very old and didn't have much lifespan left. But now he couldn't care less. With a wave of his dragon claw, the endless power of laws in the Dragon Emperor's territory condensed, and the broken supreme formation instantly exploded. In an instant, it charged towards Lin Xian. The pupils of Lin Xian and the others shrank abruptly. They hurriedly used their extreme Dao weapons to collide. With a clang, another earth-shattering sound was heard. The Tianxian continent kept shaking as if the world was about to be destroyed. At this moment, everyone on Burial Earth Star was also shocked. An extreme Dao battle? Those from the monarch families went crazy because they clearly sensed that on one side was the power of the heaven-swallowing jar. This was Lin Wuti. Who was the other side? Many people prepared to go and watch. Those supreme elders of the Thousand Dragon Dynasty also soared into the sky. They were dumbfounded. Damn it, not good. Thousand Dragon Dynasty, listen to my command, attack together. A loud voice sounded in the Thousand Dragon Dynasty. At this moment, those young disciples of the Thousand Dragon Dynasty were all stunned. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.